So here to weigh in on the 2020 campaign season, as well as season 12 of Shark Tank, is the fabulous Mark Cuban. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Sure. So there were two town halls last night because Trump, he wouldn't do a virtual debate. He's not happy unless he can keep interrupting people, I guess. What do you think about the night? What did you notice?
Well, I mean, the first thing is that Biden is presidential. He's authentic. He was honest. He wanted to talk to people. He wanted to listen to what they had to say. He wasn't putting party over country. It was just all the things that I think we need in a president going forward. And on the flip side, Donald Trump was Donald Trump. He was combative. He didn't want to hear the question. He didn't want to give a direct answer. He didn't want to offer solutions. He just, wanted to talk around topics and give his traditional answers.
I totally agree with that. The election, though, is just 18 days away, and Biden seems to have a double-digit national lead in the polls. But just yesterday, we talked about right now here on the show how Biden might not have locked this up yet. What do you think?
No, he certainly has not locked it up yet. I mean, it's an interesting dynamic, as we learned from 4 years ago. National polls are not really relevant. You have to win the Electoral College. And so there's a lot of states that are still very close. And I think one of the big edge that Joe has right now is that I don't expect any surprises. I mean, yeah, the Republicans are going to try to throw some things at him like we're seeing from the Post. But the reality is, I mean, he should be able to just run his normal offense and campaign as usual and play it out. And I think he's smart enough this time. Hillary was a little bit arrogant in thinking she had this blue wall. I think Joe learned from that, and he's going out to states that were close, can be close, may be close, and campaigning there. And that's critically important. And I think that's a big difference that'll pay off for him in the end.
Mark, I have a lot of businessmen and businesswomen friends who tell me all the time that they don't think Trump is fit for office. They don't think he has the character required to be president. They don't like him, but they like his tax policy. They like his domestic policy, his business policies. As a businessman, a successful one, what's your thought on that?
That's ridiculous, right? I think, look, what we learned from these last 4 years is that the one thing that crushes business is civil unrest. When you don't have leadership and people are not working together in this country, we get marches, we get protests, and that can lead to violence. And if you can't open your business, then you can't do business. And then there's the crisis, the pandemic. We have a leader, we have a president right now, I don't want to call him a leader, that is not willing to deal with this crisis. And we see what's happened to the economy and compare it to what's happened to the economies in other countries, advanced countries around the world. And so that lack of leadership has really hurt us. And so as a business person, number one, I think you've got to have leadership that can deal with whatever comes along, and that's really hurt us. And so when I talk to other business people and we discuss these issues, that's exactly what I say. And when you really talk to them, they understand it. I think, maybe that was a valid set of logic, 4 years ago, but it certainly doesn't hold true today.
Agreed.
Mark, people are turning out in record numbers to vote. Waiting online for hours in some areas to cast their ballots. Your team, the Dallas Mavericks, is making it much easier as one of the NBA arenas being used as a polling and voting center, which I think is incredible. How is that going, and what does the high voter turnout this election signal to you?
Well, two great questions. One, it's going great. I mean, I'm honestly, the volunteers, the poll workers, the people that organized it from the county have been incredible. And, it takes a lot to put that together, and they did a phenomenal job. I just happen to have the arena that hosted it, but all the people from the county and volunteers deserve all the credit. In terms of the volume, it's been off the charts in Dallas and obviously nationally. And what does that mean? I think it means that, as American citizens, we finally want our voice heard. There's been so much partisanship over the last 4 years that I don't think Americans feel like they've been listened to, that we've been listened to. And I know that's the way I feel. There's so much partisanship, so much party over country, that I think this is a chance for us to stand up and be heard. That's part one. Part two, I think a lot of people are a little bit fearful of what might happen on November 3rd. So they want to take the safe route and go to polling locations early to avoid any type of risk. I mean, we've all seen, the stories about Donald Trump asking people to be monitors, and then people actually going even to some early voting places. And that has some people concerned. So I think early voting really does a good job of dealing with those concerns.
Mark, I want to ask you about Trump's $1.8 trillion stimulus package. Now, Democrats are being accused of dragging their feet on accepting it, and Republicans, in turn, are being accused of not giving enough. What is the holdup? Does it do enough? And I tend to think something is better than nothing. Am I wrong?
I agree. No, you're not wrong. Something is better than nothing, because right now it's not about us. It's not about the Democrats. It's not about the Republicans. It's about the American people who are suffering right now. There are people who can't pay their bills. There are people who don't have enough food. There are people that are in a bad situation because their kids are at home and trying to learn online, and a parent or both parents have to stay home to take care of that. We've seen 860-some thousand women leave the workforce, so you know that it's a problem that's cascading downhill. And so we need that stimulus now. Look, no deal is perfect. And hopefully if Biden wins, there'll be an opportunity for the Democrats to address these issues that they want money for afterwards. I mean, we're talking about from October 16th to January 21st. Let's get money in the hands of people. Let's get the stimulus paid now. The American people need it. We can deal with the rest on January 22nd.